Okay. Product backlog refinement, also sometimes known as product backlog grooming, depending on when you heard about it, when you learned it, is all about putting things on, taking things off of, changing the order of the items in the product backlog, sometimes breaking them down from big things to small things, sometimes adding estimates to them. So it can be multiple things depending on what the product backlog needs. It's important because the product backlog's always changing and you want it to. It's one of the benefits of Scrum and Agile practices is that that thing can be dynamic. So as the environment changes, user needs change, technology changes, you learn new things, you're able to update the product backlog accordingly. It's also important to do that because you don't want to walk into sprint planning and basically start flat-footed. And by that, I mean, the team has no awareness of what's on the product backlog or what may be coming their way. Because if you don't do refinement, you're going to have to cover all that in sprint planning, which is going to extend your sprint planning time and feel, quite frankly, more painful for the team if you have to do it during sprint planning. So it maintains a healthy product backlog, gives the team some situational awareness about what's coming their way, and gives you the opportunity to change as you learn and things around you are changing. In terms of best practices, like sort of per the Scrum guide, it says spend no more than 10% of the team's capacity on product backlog refinement. Personal opinion is that's a little bit ambiguous. I'm not 10% of what, 10% of the hours, 10% of the people. It's a little bit unclear. I think what the real intent there is that to me seems like a lot, right? So it is worthwhile to actually invest in preparing the product backlog, refining it to get ready for future sprints. So the Scrum guide and Scrum framework don't prescribe a specific event to go and do this. However, what we have found is particularly with new teams who don't have history or experience doing product backlog refinement, what we like to do is actually schedule an event, right? And so I'll talk about this in the context of 2-week sprints. Let's say you're going to start your sprint on a Wednesday. That Wednesday would be sprint planning. So you're planning for that current sprint. In the off Wednesday, so the following Wednesday, what we recommend is scheduling somewhere between 45 and 90 minutes and calling that a product backlog refinement session, where it's a focused time that everyone has on their calendar to come together, look at the product backlog, and see what's changing. So actually carve out time in the week to do product backlog refinement. Now, the product owner may be out constantly gathering information and details around what becomes part of product backlog refinement, but in terms of where the team is focused in on it, that like scheduled session on every other week is I would consider a best practice. In addition, some people want to say, well, do we need the whole team there? And I think in the long run, perhaps the answer is no. Maybe you don't need the entire team there. Perhaps it's the product owner, Scrum Master, maybe a handful of developers who need to do product backlog refinement. But particularly when you're first getting started, I believe it's worth the investment to have everyone sitting at the same table for, physically or virtually doing product backlog refinement, to get experience doing user story splitting, just getting awareness of what's in the product backlog. And then in particular, if you're going to do estimation, I'm not a fan of having people who aren't going to do the work estimate the work for the people who are going to do the work. That almost always creates at least confusion, if not potentially some bitterness, right? You said it was easy, but I have to go do the work, right? So if you're going to do estimation, having the people who are going to be doing the work be part of that process, I think is really important.